I need you to listen carefully because what I'm about to say will either shake you awake or let you keep sleeping through your life. Most people wake up every day and go through the motion, pretending that they are living when in reality, they are surviving. They scroll through their phones, complain about what they don't have, blame the world, blame circumstances, blame other people, and convince themselves that they are doing their best. But the truth, they are lying to themselves. Deep down, they know it. They know they are capable of more. They know they are meant for more. And yet every day they choose excuses over action, fear over courage, comfort over growth. Right now, you are standing at the edge of a choice. You can continue living in that lie, in that safe, comfortable cage that feels familiar but kills your soul slowly. Or you can step up, look fear in the eye, and decide that nothing, absolutely nothing, will stop you from claiming the life you were meant to live. Every excuse you've told yourself, every reason you created to delay, every fear you've allowed to control your mind, all of it has been holding you back from the person you are capable of becoming. But that stops today, not tomorrow, not next week. Today, I want you to imagine for a moment the life you could have if you refuse to give any power to your excuses. Imagine waking up every morning with fire in your soul, with clarity in your mind, with the kind of discipline that makes hesitation impossible. Imagine moving with relentless purpose, taking action every single day, crushing obstacles that used to scare you, and achieving results that would make your past self weep. That life is not a fantasy. That life is not luck. That life is not for other people. That life is yours. If you have the courage, the discipline, and the refusal to surrender to fear, comfort, or delay. But most people will never see it because they settle for what is easy, what is safe, what is convenient. Most people will never rise because they hide behind excuses disguised as reason. And while they are busy rationalizing, the world is moving past them. Right now, the question is simple. Are you going to be the person who hides behind excuses, or are you going to be the person who destroys them? Who moves, who acts, who dominates, who refuses to stop until the impossible becomes your reality? Here is the truth that nobody wants to tell you. Your mind will fight you. Your body will fight you. The world will fight you. But the strongest, most unstoppable people in history are the ones who refuse to surrender. They refuse to rationalize. They refuse to wait for perfect conditions. They refuse to let fear masquerade as reason. And they acted relentlessly, consistently, without hesitation. That is the mindset you must adopt if you want to live the life that most people only dream about. This is not about motivation. Motivation is fleeting. This is about psychology. This is about rewiring your mind to refuse weakness, to refuse delay, to refuse excuses, to refuse comfort. This is about building a mentality so unshakable, so relentless, so obsessed with progress that nothing and no one can stop you from achieving what you set out to do. So I ask you now, are you ready? Are you ready to destroy every excuse? Are you ready to step into discomfort? Are you ready to embrace fear as fuel instead of letting it paralyze you? Are you ready to grind like your life depends on it? Because it does. This is your moment. This is your wake-up call. No more hiding, no more waiting, no more excuses. Your life starts now, and it starts with the decision that from this second onward, nothing will hold you back. Not fear, not doubt, not delay, not circumstance, nothing. This is the mindset. This is the mindset. This is the psychology. This is the fire that will carry you to the life you deserve. No more excuses, not telling yourself you can't, you shouldn't, you won't, you don't have enough time. You're too tired, too busy, too young, too old, too weak, too inexperienced, too broke. Whoa. You're telling yourself stories that comfort you but keep you trapped. And every time you do, you're adding another link to the chain that binds your potential. Excuses are not harmless words. They are invisible shackles. They may seem small when you say them quietly to yourself, but over time they grow, they tighten, they dig into your mind and your soul, restricting your movement, restraining your ambition, and chaining your destiny to mediocrity. Every I can't tell you is a handcuff. Every I'll do it later is a link in a chain that keeps you exactly where you are, while your dreams walk past you in the distance, untouchable because you decided to stay comfortable. And comfort is a dangerous trap. It whispers in your ear that you are safe, that you are fine, that tomorrow will take care of it. But tomorrow doesn't care about your excuses. Tomorrow doesn't wait for you to feel ready, to feel motivated, to feel inspired. Tomorrow comes with the same sun, the same hours, the same opportunities. And if you are still bound by your excuses, tomorrow will pass and you will still be stuck wondering why life is moving while you feel paralyzed. Excuses are chains because they are deliberate distractions from responsibility. They convince you that external factors are stronger than your willpower, that circumstances dictate your outcome more than your choices, that other people's actions or mistakes or neglect are the reason you haven't moved forward. But let me tell you something. Those are lies you tell yourself to feel safe, to avoid the discomfort of facing your own power. Every excuse a subtle act of surrender, a quiet declaration that you are willing to accept the life you currently have rather than fight for the life you deserve. And while you sit making excuses, life doesn't wait. Life doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't pause to give you another chance or slow down for you to get your act together. It moves, it progresses, it rewards those who decide that enough is enough and break free from the chains they have been holding on to themselves. The chains are invisible, yes, but they are heavy. They weigh down your thoughts, your energy, your confidence, and your drive. They hold you back from starting that business, from applying for that job, from having that conversation, from lifting that weight, from making that move. And every day you give in to them, they grow stronger. They wrap tighter around your mind, convincing you that your excuses are justified, that the world is unfair, that your situation is unique, that no one understands you. And it's all lies. Lies that you choose to believe because believing them is easier than fighting, because fighting takes courage, takes sweat, takes risk, and takes discomfort. But let's be real. Chains are meant to be broken. That's the point. They aren't permanent unless you let them be. You have the power to shatter them the moment you decide that excuses are no longer acceptable in your life. You have the strength to stand up, to refuse to accept the stories you've been telling yourself, to look in the mirror and admit that the only thing stopping you is you. True. Excuses are chains only because you allow them to be. They only control you if you surrender to them. And the second you refuse to surrender, the moment you decide that no more I can't, and no more I don't have will pass your lips, those chains begin to break. You will feel resistance at first because chains are designed to hold you. They fight back. They make you uncomfortable. They make you question yourself. They make your mind scream that maybe you are not ready, that maybe you are not strong enough, that maybe this is too much for you to handle. That is the sound of growth. That is the sound of the chains breaking. That is the sound of freedom being forged in your willpower. The struggle is the proof that you are alive, that you are moving, that you are finally stepping into the reality that excuses do not own you anymore. Excuses chain people to a life that is smaller than their potential, a life that is quieter than their dreams, a life that settles for less than they were created for. They chain people to fear, to laziness, to hesitation, to procrastination. They chain people to regret, because eventually you will look back and realize that all those reasons you told yourself not to act were meaningless in the face of opportunity, in the face of time, in the face of your own capability. The chains are subtle, the chains are quiet, but they are heavy and they are crushing the life out of you little by little. That's why some people get to the end of their life and realize they never tried, they never risked, they never went after what they wanted with everything they had. Because excuses whispered in their ear every day, convincing them that comfort was better than challenge, that stagnation was safer than progress. And that is why you must fight. That is why you must scream to yourself in the mirror, enough. I refuse to be chained any longer. Because the moment you make that decision, the chains begin to weaken. The moment you make that decision, excuses lose their power. Whoa. The moment you make that decision, you step into a version of yourself that is unafraid, unstoppable, and unchained. You will start taking actions, even imperfect actions, even small steps, because every step is a blow to the chains that once bound you. Every time you refuse an excuse, you chip away at the links until one day they break completely. And freedom is not just a word, it's a feeling. It's the liberation of your mind from the prison of self-imposed limitations, the release of your energy from the weight of your doubts, the eruption of your potential into a life that is bigger than you ever imagined. Chains are built one excuse at a time, but they can also be destroyed one decision at a time. The fight begins in your mind. It begins when you look at yourself honestly and say, no more excuses, no more waiting, no more blaming, no more hiding, no more comfort. And it continues when you act. When you show up, even though you are tired, even though it's inconvenient, even though it's uncomfortable, even though the fear is screaming at you to stop. Chains cannot survive action. Chains cannot survive courage. Chains cannot survive the refusal to accept anything less than your absolute best. And the more you fight, the more you move, the more you do, the weaker the chains become. And eventually, you will not even recognize yourself because the person who made excuses and stayed in comfort is dead. You will be someone new, someone free, someone unstoppable, someone who refuses to be held back by anything or anyone. Your dreams will no longer be distant. Your goals will no longer be impossible. Your life will no longer be dictated by fear or circumstance. You will have broken the chains that held you, and there is no going back. Excuses are chains. They are invisible, but they are heavy. They are silent, but they are deafening in the way they hold you back. They are subtle, but they are suffocating. And every day you choose to accept them, you tighten your own prison. But here's the truth. The chains only exist if you allow them. The moment you decide that no more excuses will rule your life, the chains shatter. You rise, you move, you fight. You act, you grow, you become unstoppable, you become unchained, and the world has no choice but to notice because nothing is more powerful than a person who refuses to be held back any longer. The moment you stop blaming others, stop blaming circumstances, stop blaming the world, stop blaming luck, stop blaming your parents, your teachers, your friends, your boss, your neighborhood, your past mistakes, your health, your finances. Stop blaming everything and everyone outside yourself. That is the moment your life changes forever. Radical responsibility is not a slogan. It is not a concept to nod at and then go back to your same patterns. Radical responsibility is the choice to stand in front of the mirror and admit with unflinching honesty that your life is your responsibility. You are responsible for the results you have, for the results you don't have, for your failures, for your successes, for your energy, for your focus, for your time, for your relationships, for your habits, for your mind, for your future. Nothing is outside your control unless you allow it to be. And most people spend their lives pretending that someone else is holding the keys to their dreams, when the truth is that the keys have been in their hands all along. Every excuse you make is a way to avoid responsibility, and avoiding responsibility is a slow, silent killer. It robs you of power, of confidence, of growth. It keeps you small while the world moves on, and it convinces you that being stuck is normal, that being average is safe, that being mediocre is acceptable. But deep down, you know it's not. You feel it every day in the pit of your stomach, the whisper of your heart, the anger at yourself for not being more, doing more, achieving more. That is your soul screaming for radical responsibility, for the truth that nothing changes until you decide to take full ownership of your life. Taking radical responsibility means no more pointing fingers, no more if onlys, no more I couldn't, because every time you say I couldn't, you give your power away. Every time you say it wasn't my fault, you are agreeing to stay small. Every time you say, I'll wait for the right moment, you are surrendering to chance, and chance doesn't care about your dreams. Radical responsibility is not comfortable. It is not convenient. It requires courage because it forces you to face your life honestly. It forces you to acknowledge that you have been responsible for where you are today, even if that truth is uncomfortable. It forces you to look at your failures and say, this is mine. I accept it. I will learn from it. I will grow from it. I will not repeat it. But see, and here is the powerful truth. Once you accept that responsibility, once you own every part of your life, you become unstoppable. You are no longer a victim of circumstance, a prisoner of your environment, a bystander to your own dreams. You become a force of nature because there is no longer anything outside of your control that can hold you back. You own it all. Your life is yours, period. The moment you decide this, the world starts to bend to your will, not because the world changes, but because you change. You see the world differently. You see opportunity where you used to see obstacle. You see solutions where you used to see problems. You see power where you used to see helplessness. That is what radical responsibility does. It transforms your mind, your perspective, your energy, your ability to act. It gives you the freedom that excuses and blame have been stealing from you for years. When you take radical responsibility, excuses die immediately. You stop waiting for things to be perfect. You stop waiting for someone to give you permission. You stop waiting for someone to hand you opportunity. You stop waiting for luck or timing or approval. You create your own path. You make your own luck. You forge your own opportunity. And yes, that means you will fail because taking full responsibility is not risk-free. It is not easy. It's not guaranteed. And it's not guaranteed. But here is the beauty. Failing while owning it is more powerful than succeeding while blaming. Because when you fail as a responsible person, you learn, you adjust, you grow, you strengthen your mind, your character, your discipline, your focus. When you fail while blaming, you stay weak, you stay stuck, you stay small. Radical responsibility forces you to confront your failures as tools, not as excuses. It forces you to turn every mistake into a lesson, every setback into a setup, every obstacle into an opportunity to rise stronger, smarter, faster, more relentless than before. It is the ultimate mindset shift because it turns the entire weight of your life into fuel. Nothing outside you controls you anymore. Only you control you. And that is power, pure, unshakable, unstoppable power. Responsibility is not just about the big things either. It is in the small things, the daily choices, the habits, the routines. Radical responsibility means showing up when no one is watching, completing tasks even when you don't feel like it, pushing yourself when comfort is screaming to stop, being honest with yourself about where you are and where you are and where you are going. It is choosing to act when most people are making excuses. It is holding yourself accountable in a world that encourages blame and avoidance. It is choosing discipline over comfort, action over apathy, growth over stagnation. Radical responsibility means that when someone else is failing, it does not become your excuse to quit. When the environment is toxic, it does not become your excuse to stop. When the situation is unfair, it does not become your excuse to give up. You take ownership anyway. You act anyway. You fight anyway. You move anyway. You succeed anyway. Ha! That is the level of commitment required to break free from excuses and claim your life. Because life will test you every day. Life will throw challenges, obstacles, setbacks, betrayals, disappointments. Life will tempt you to point fingers, to blame, to quit. Radical responsibility teaches you to look those challenges square in the face and say, I own this, I control this, I will handle this. Nothing will stop me because I'm accountable to myself and I answer only to my own actions. The difference between ordinary people and extraordinary people is that extraordinary people take radical responsibility for their lives. Ordinary people wait for permission. They wait for luck. They wait for luck. They wait for conditions to be perfect. They blame everyone and everything else. Extraordinary people fail, but they fail forward. Extraordinary people rise again and again because no one else is responsible for their progress but them. They understand that freedom is born from ownership. They understand that power comes from accountability. They understand that excuses are the death of potential and responsibility is the resurrection of greatness. Radical responsibility is uncomfortable. Radical responsibility is demanding. Radical responsibility is relentless. But it is also the path to a life where you no longer feel powerless, where you no longer feel trapped, where you no longer feel like a victim. It is the path to a life where you can look in the mirror and smile at yourself because you know without doubt that everything you are, everything you have, everything you achieve is because of you, because of your effort, because of your courage. Because of your refusal to let excuses or blame dictate your future. That is freedom. That is power. That is life lived fully. So today, stop pointing fingers. Stop waiting for someone else to fix your problems. Stop blaming your circumstances, your past, your lack of resources, your situation, your environment, or anyone else. Own it all. Every success, every failure, every opportunity, every moment. Own it and make it yours. Radical responsibility is not just a choice. It is a declaration that you are done being a victim. It is the first step in breaking every chain that has held you back, in silencing every excuse that has been whispering in your ear, in igniting the fire inside you that refuses to be small or average or unfulfilled. Radical responsibility transforms ordinary people into unstoppable forces. It transforms hesitation into action, weakness into strength, fear into courage, and potential into reality. It is the ultimate antidote to excuses, the ultimate weapon against stagnation, the ultimate path to greatness. And the second you embrace it fully, without reservation, without compromise, without delay, your life will never, ever be the same again. Motivation is fleeting. Motivation is a spark, a feeling, an emotional high that comes and goes like the weather. You wake up one day feeling inspired, feeling unstoppable, feeling like today is the day you're going to change your life. And then life happens. You get tired, you get distracted, you get overwhelmed. The spark fades, and suddenly you're back to old habits, back to excuses, back to the same patterns that have held you down for years. Motivation is not reliable. Motivation does not build your dreams. Motivation will not carry you through the storms, the struggles, the late nights, the early mornings, the grind that no one else sees. Motivation is the wind in your sail, but action is the ship. Without action, motivation is just hot air, a whisper that fades in the chaos of real life. Action beats motivation because action does not wait for your feelings to align with your dreams. Action does not require inspiration. Action does not care if you are tired, scared, anxious, or unsure. Action moves regardless, and that is why the people who succeed are not the ones who feel motivated every day. They are the ones who take relentless action, even when they don't feel motivated at all. Every moment you wait for motivation is a moment you lose, a moment your potential is wasted, a moment your dreams drift further away while life keeps moving. Inaction beats motivation because action creates momentum, and momentum is the real secret of success. Motivation gives you energy, but energy fades. Motivation gives you hope, but hope alone is not enough to achieve. Motivation gives you excitement, but excitement without movement is empty. Action, however, multiplies everything. Every small step forward creates more forward movement. Every task completed, every call made, every decision acted upon, every risk taken, every uncomfortable step into the unknown builds momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Momentum builds belief. Momentum builds proof that you are capable. You cannot sit around waiting to feel motivated to take your first step, because by the time the motivation arrives, the opportunity may be gone. The people who change their lives are the people who act without waiting for the perfect feeling, without waiting for the perfect plan, without waiting for the perfect circumstances. They act, and the action fuels motivation, not the other way around. Motivation is unreliable. Action is unstoppable. Motivation whispers, action roars. Motivation is temporary, action is permanent. And if you understand that, you understand the difference between ordinary people and extraordinary people. Ordinary people wait for motivation. Extraordinary people act, and motivation shows up along the way to reward them for moving when others stood still. Action beats motivation because action teaches you what you don't know. Motivation is all about feelings. Action is about results. When you act, you learn. You fail. You adjust. You grow. Motivation cannot teach you lessons. Motivation cannot show you the gaps in your skills. Motivation cannot reveal the areas where you need to work harder, focus deeper, or push further. Action does. Action exposes the truth. Action forces you to face reality. You find out that you are stronger than you thought. You find out that you are smarter than you imagined. You find out that the obstacles you feared were smaller than your courage. You find out that the excuses you believe were lies you told yourself to feel safe. And when you take action, you gain clarity. You gain direction. You gain insight. Motivation alone cannot give you that. No. Feeling motivated will not teach you how to make the call, write the email, start the project, lift the weight, or have the conversation. Only action teaches you. Only action moves you from dreaming to doing, from hoping to achieving, from wishing to conquering. That is why action beats motivation. It converts potential into reality, energy into results, desire into accomplishment, and intention into proof. Action beats motivation because life is unforgiving and time waits for no one. You may feel motivated today, but tomorrow brings distractions, challenges, setbacks, and fatigue. You may feel motivated now, but the opportunity won't wait for your emotional high. The world doesn't care if you feel inspired. The world only responds to results, and results come from action. You may have the greatest ideas, the clearest vision, the most passionate intentions, but if you never act, if you never take the steps, if you never push through the discomfort, those ideas die quietly, unnoticed, unfulfilled, while someone else takes the same opportunities and turns them into victory. Action beats motivation because the gap between dreams and reality is always bridged by movement, by execution, by doing, not by feeling. You can feel motivated for years, thinking you are building momentum in your mind, thinking you are preparing, thinking you are getting ready. But if your hands, your body, your decisions, your actions are not moving in alignment with your goals, your motivation is meaningless. Action beats motivation because it does not negotiate with your emotions. It does not depend on your mood. It does not care about your fears. It does not wait for permission. Action forces you to rise above comfort, to move past doubt, to push beyond hesitation, to create results regardless of circumstance. That is why action is king and motivation is only a servant. Motivation can spark you, but only action can take you across the finish line. Action beats motivation because action creates confidence, and confidence is what carries you through the hardest times. Motivation is fragile. It can be shaken by failure, by criticism, by rejection, by setbacks, by reality. Action, however, cannot be shaken because it is rooted in proof. Action is proof that you are doing, that you are learning, that you are growing, that you are moving. Action beats motivation because motivation without action is wasted energy. Feeling inspired without acting is like filling a cup with water and never drinking it. The water stays in the cup, untouched, wasted while your thirst grows. Action quenches your thirst for success. Action creates results. Action gives you momentum. Action gives you proof. And proof builds confidence. Confidence carries you through moments when motivation disappears. Action beats motivation because it builds the life that motivation alone cannot. Motivation is a feeling, but action is a foundation. Motivation may get you excited, but action gets you paid, promoted, stronger, better, healthier, smarter. Motivation may lift your spirit, but action lifts your life. And if you want to live a life that is bigger than excuses, bigger than fear, bigger than comfort, you must understand this truth. Action beats motivation every single time. You do not wait for motivation. You do not wait to feel like it. You do not wait for inspiration to hit. You move, and the movement fuels the fire. You start, and the starting point ignites momentum. You take one step, then another, even when you feel afraid, even when you feel tired, even when you feel uncertain. You act, you push, you grind, you fight, you build, you execute, you move. That is the law of result. That is the law of success. That is the law of life. Motivation is temporary, fleeting, unreliable. Action is permanent, undeniable, unstoppable. Motivation will not create your future. Action will. Motivation will not pay the bills, win the games, close the deals, lift the weights, write the books, or build the empire. Action will. And the people who succeed are not the people who feel motivated every day. They are the people who do not stop, who do not wait, who do not negotiate with their feelings, who take action relentlessly until the vision becomes reality. That is the power of action. That is why action beats motivation. That is why your dreams will only be realized when you act, when you refuse to let feelings dictate results, and when you understand that the world rewards those who act, not those who wait to feel like it. So stop waiting, stop hoping, stop whooping, stop wishing, stop moving, start doing. Start grinding, start building, start acting, and watch as momentum results, confidence, and success crush the excuses and fears that have been holding you back. Action beats motivation, always. Without question, without exception, comfort is a trap. Comfort is a lie. Comfort is the quiet killer of dreams, the invisible anchor that keeps you stuck, the seductive whisper that convinces you to settle, to pause, to stay small, to accept mediocrity, to let life pass by while you sit safely in your little box of ease. Comfort is everywhere, and it comes dressed as peace, as rest, as enough, as you deserve it. But the truth is, comfort is not your friend. Comfort does not care about your dreams. Comfort does not care about your goals. Comfort does not care about your potential. Comfort only cares about keeping you safe, keeping you still, keeping you quiet, keeping you from taking risks, keeping you from pushing past the limits that would redefine your life. And the worst part is, comfort is easy to fall into because it feels good in the moment. It gives you temporary relief. It gives you temporary satisfaction. It gives you a sense of security. But that security is a prison disguised as peace. That relief is a trap. That satisfaction is the very thing that robs you of the greatness that is rightfully yours. The world does not reward comfort. The world does not reward safety. The world does not reward hesitation. The world rewards action, struggle, risk, endurance, resilience, boldness, and comfort in all its seductive subtlety is the enemy of every one of those things. Comfort is the enemy because it kills ambition. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you are choosing stagnation over growth. Every time you take the easy path, you are letting the easy life dictate your limits. Every time you sit down instead of standing up, waiting instead of acting, you are shrinking from your potential. You are shrinking from the person you were meant to become. Growth only happens when you are uncomfortable. Strength is only forged when you push past resistance. Success is only built when you endure pain, sweat, failure, and discomfort that most people refuse to face. And yet, people chase comfort like it is a prize. They chase comfort like it is the reward. They chase comfort while watching their dreams slip through their fingers, and they call it life. But it is not life, it is merely existence. And there is a difference between existing and living. Comfort will keep you existing while your vision, your purpose, your greatness passes you by. Comfort is a thief. It steals time, it steals opportunity, it steals energy, it steals ambition, it steals courage, and it leaves you with a life you will one day regret. Comfort is the enemy because it disguises itself as harmless. It whispers, you can wait, you can rest, you can take it easy. And while you listen, your competition is running, your dreams are growing, your potential is being realized by others who refuse to be comfortable. Comfort is quiet, but it is lethal because it does not fight you. It merely seduces you into surrender. Comfort is the enemy because it kills action. You cannot achieve greatness while sitting in comfort. You cannot innovate, you cannot build, you cannot dominate, you cannot transform your life while letting comfort dictate your pace. Comfort makes you procrastinate. Comfort convinces you to delay. Comfort convinces you that now is not the right time, that conditions are not perfect, that you will start tomorrow, and tomorrow becomes next week, next month, next year, next decade. Every day you let comfort rule your choices, you are losing time, losing progress, losing momentum, losing your shot at what you were capable of achieving. Comfort is the enemy because it replaces courage with convenience. It replaces struggle with ease. It replaces action with excuses. And it will continue to do so unless you recognize it for what it is and refuse to obey its seductive call. The people who succeed are not the people who seek comfort. They are the people who seek challenge. They are the people who step into the fire, into the storm, into the hard work, into the grind that no one else wants. They embrace pain, they embrace struggle, they embrace discomfort because they know that greatness is born in the place where comfort dies. Comfort is the enemy because it wants you to believe that easy is acceptable, but easy is never extraordinary. Easy is never remembered. Easy never leaves a mark. Easy never creates a legacy. Only discomfort does. Only struggle does. Only pushing past the moments where comfort tempts you into inaction creates history, creates achievement, creates the life you were meant to live. Comfort is the enemy because it kills discipline. Discipline requires you to do what you don't want to do, what is hard, what is inconvenient, what is uncomfortable, and comfort stands directly in the way. Comfort whispers, relax, rest, enjoy, wait. And discipline answers, no, I will push, I will grind, I will rise, I will conquer. The stronger you become, the more disciplined you become, the more uncomfortable you are willing to be, the less power comfort has over you. Comfort is a sly enemy because it can appear even in moments when you think you are strong. You think you are working hard, and yet if you are not challenging yourself beyond your boundaries, if you are not forcing yourself to rise when others sleep, to act when others delay, to push when others pause, comfort has crept back in and is stealing your potential without you noticing. The struggle, the grind, the sacrifice, the early mornings, the late nights, the extra effort, these are uncomfortable. They are supposed to be. And if you shy away from them for the sake of comfort, you are choosing mediocrity over excellence, safety over success, ease over greatness. Comfort is the enemy because it makes quitting feel good. It makes failure feel acceptable. It makes enough feel sufficient. But enough is never enough if you are meant for more. Comfort is the enemy because it lowers your ceiling while you are still alive. It shrinks your potential while you are still breathing. It convinces you to settle for less while your dreams are screaming for more. The people who achieve extraordinary results are not the people who chase comfort. They are the people who embrace the pain, the struggle, the fear, the risk, the hard work, the challenge, and the discomfort because they know that life only rewards those who refuse to be comfortable. Comfort is the enemy because it is silent, patient, and relentless. It waits for moments when you are weak, tired, distracted, or uncertain, and it creeps in, convincing you to pause, to delay, to compromise, to settle, to hesitate. It waits while the world rewards the brave, the bold, the relentless, the unafraid. Comfort is patient because it knows you will eventually choose it if you do not actively resist. It is persistent because it knows it only has to win a few battles over time to control your life. And yet, the moment you choose to fight comfort, the moment you decide that discomfort is the path to growth, the moment you embrace struggle as your teacher and resistance as your ally, comfort begins to lose its power. Comfort cannot survive when challenged. Comfort cannot thrive when you are relentless. Comfort cannot hold you back when you are willing to endure pain, the risk, the struggle, the discomfort necessary to achieve your goals. Comfort is the enemy because it is seductive, but it is weak. It is strong only if you allow it to be. The moment you step up, the moment you push beyond it, the moment you take action in spite of it, comfort becomes powerless. You rise, you grow, you succeed, you achieve, you conquer, you become unstoppable. So hear this clearly. Comfort is your enemy, and every time you choose it, you chain yourself to mediocrity. Every time you sit back while the world demands action, you shrink from your potential. Every time you prioritize ease over excellence, you betray the dreams you were meant to live. Comfort is a lie. Comfort is a trap. Comfort is a silent killer of ambition, drive, discipline, and destiny. And the only way to defeat it is to embrace discomfort, seek challenge, endure pain, take risks, grind relentlessly, push past fear, and never ever settle for less than what you are capable of achieving. The world rewards struggle. The world rewards persistence. The world rewards courage. The world rewards people who refuse to be comfortable, who refuse to settle, who refuse to accept anything less than greatness. Comfort is the enemy. And if you want to win, if you want to rise, if you want to live a life of impact, a life of achievement, a life of dominance, you must understand that comfort is not your friend. Comfort is the enemy. Whoa. And you must be willing to destroy it every single day, in every single choice, in every single action, in every single moment of your life, until you are unstoppable, unshakable, and unbreakable. Fear is the quietest, the most dangerous thief you will ever encounter. And the cruelest thing about fear is that rarely shows itself as fear. Fear comes dressed in reason, in logic, in careful planning, and excuses, and I can't because it is not the right time, and I don't have enough. Fear disguises itself as wisdom, disguises itself as rationality, disguises itself as safety, disguises itself as protection, and you listen to it because it sounds smart. It sounds reasonable. It sounds like the kind of voice that makes you feel like you are making the right choice, but it is lying to you. Every time you tell yourself a reason for not starting, not stepping up, not going after your dream, not taking the risk, you are really listening to fear. You are really listening to fear. Fear does not want you to grow. Fear does not want you to succeed. Fear does not want you to rise. Fear wants you to stay small, stay safe, stay comfortable, stay average, stay quiet, stay where it can control you. And the worst part is that you believe it. You believe that I can't is logic, that hesitation is intelligence, that delay is wisdom, that comfort is protection. But it is all fear in disguise. And every time you listen, it steals a piece of your future. It steals a piece of your power. It steals a piece of your destiny. Fear will never speak the truth to you. Fear will never tell you that you are capable. Fear will never tell you that you have the strength, the skills, the courage, or the resilience to push through. Fear only tells you what you cannot do, what you should not do, what is too risky, what is too hard, what is too big. And it sounds reasonable. That is why it is so deadly. It masquerades as the voice of reason, and you allow it to guide your decisions. And while you are listening, the world passes you by. Opportunities slip through your fingers, and your dreams wait for someone braver than you to claim them. Fear disguised as reason is the reason most people never start. They never write the book. They never make the call. They never launch the business. They never speak up. They never travel. They never take the risk. They never chase the promotion. They never go after the woman or man they want. They never step into the discomfort that growth demands. They sit there telling themselves reasons, rationalizations. I need more time. I need more money. I need more experience. I'm not ready yet. While fear laughs quietly in the background, knowing it has won another battle without ever lifting a finger. Fear disguised as reason is clever. Wait. It is patient. It knows that if it cannot stop you with a direct attack, it can control you quietly through subtlety, through logic, through the whispering lies that sound like intelligence. And the tragedy is that the very things you believe are keeping you safe are the very things keeping you small, keeping you average, keeping you from fulfilling the destiny that is waiting for you. Fear disguised as reason is the most dangerous form of enemy because it pretends to be an ally, and you follow it willingly, thinking it is protecting you, thinking it is keeping you wise, thinking it is keeping you smart. When in reality, it is stealing years of your life while you sit paralyzed by the illusion of safety. Fear disguised as reason is why people fail to act. It convinces you to wait, to plan, to delay, to gather information, to prepare. And while you are preparing, life passes by. The opportunities that were once available are gone because action moves faster than fear can disguise itself. Action exposes fear. Because when you act, when you move, when you step forward despite the trembling in your heart, the sweating in your palms, the doubt in your mind, fear has no choice but to retreat. Fear cannot survive in the presence of execution. Fear cannot persist in the presence of courage. Fear cannot function in the presence of movement. And yet so many people live their entire lives in preparation mode, in a when I feel ready mode, in a when the conditions are perfect mode, and they call it prudence, they call it intelligence, they call it patience. But it is fear. Fear disguised as reason. And every excuse you make, every hesitation you indulge, every step you avoid is fear stealing your life while pretending to be smart. Every I wait until is fear tying your hands and saying you are not capable yet and you believe it. But here is the truth. You are capable. You are ready. You are strong enough. You are resilient enough. You are resourceful enough. You just have to act. And action is the antidote to fear disguised as reason. Action exposes fear for what it is. And the second you take that step, the moment you decide to move despite the fear, the disguise falls away and you realize that the so-called reason was never true, that the logic was never valid, that the excuse was never legitimate. It was fear, and fear loses when you act. Fear disguised as reason is also the enemy of progress. It convinces you to compromise, to settle, to accept less than you deserve, to settle for a mediocre version of your life because it looks safe, reasonable, attainable. Fear wants you to shrink from your potential because it knows that if you embrace your full capacity, if you rise to your highest self, fear loses control. Fear wants you to stay small, stay predictable, stay like everyone else because fear cannot survive greatness. And greatness is uncomfortable, and discomfort scares fear, and action terrifies fear because fear thrives in hesitation and inaction and delay and waiting. Fear disguised as reason is why people watch other people succeed and say, I could have done that. Fear disguised as reason is why people regret the opportunities they never took, the relationships they never pursued, the risks they never embraced, the dreams they abandoned before they even tried. Fear masquerades as logic so effectively that you never even realize it is fear until years have passed and you look back and see a lifetime of reasons for why you never acted. And you realize all those reasons were lies, illusions, distractions, chains holding you back. Fear disguised as reason is cunning, but it is powerless against action. It is powerless against courage. It is powerless against relentless determination to move forward regardless of the discomfort, regardless of the risk, regardless of the trembling inside. Fear cannot survive movement. Fear cannot survive execution. Fear cannot survive relentless, unrelenting action toward your goals. So recognize it, identify it, name it. When your mind tells you, I can't do it yet, ask yourself, is this fear in disguise? When your mind whispers, it's not the right time, ask yourself, is this fear pretending to be reason? When your body resists, when your heart hesitates, when your mind overanalyzes, remember this. Fear is pretending to be smart because it knows you are powerful enough to crush it if you act anyway. Fear disguised as reason is the enemy of achievement, the enemy of greatness, the enemy of your potential, the enemy of your dreams, and it will not stop lying to you until you stop listening. Courage defeats it. Execution silences it. And the second you move in spite of it, the chains fall, the disguise disappear, and you realize that the only thing standing between you and your destiny was the fear you believe was reason. Stop listening to it. Step forward anyway. Take the risk anyway. Chase the dream anyway. Speak the truth anyway. Build anyway. Grind anyway. Fight anyway. Move anyway. Because fear disguises reason only wins when you do nothing, when you hesitate, when you delay, when you let the whisper of safety dictate your life. Fear is a liar, and reason is its mask. Remove the mask. Face the truth. Take the leap. Act with courage, and watch as the life you were afraid to live becomes your reality. Too many people think that change happens overnight, that success comes in one giant leap, that transformation is immediate, that the life you want can be built in a single moment of inspiration. That is a lie. That is a myth that keeps you waiting, keeps you stuck, keeps you chasing the illusion of a big moment that may never come. Real change, real success, real domination of your life does not happen in one day. It happens in small, consistent actions repeated over and over until the momentum becomes unstoppable, until the compounding effect takes over, until the life you once dreamed of is suddenly undeniable, unavoidable, and yours. Small wins create big change. And the people who understand this are the people who rise, who conquer, who refuse to be ordinary. The people who fail to understand this are the people who wait for the grand gesture, the perfect time, a huge breakthrough, and while they wait, life passes them by. Small wins are the building blocks of greatness, and they are often invisible at first. They are often tedious. They are often uncomfortable. They are often boring. But they are unstoppable in their effect, because every time you achieve a small win, you are training your mind, your habits, your discipline, your confidence, your resilience. Every small win is a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. And when you accumulate enough votes, you become a different person, a stronger person, a relentless person, a person who refuses to stop until you achieve what most people say is impossible. Small wins create big change because they build momentum that is impossible to ignore. One win leads to another. One step forward creates the energy for the next step. One choice to act instead of procrastinate. One choice to grind when everyone else rests. One choice to endure discomfort when everyone else seeks comfort compounds over time. That compounding effect is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Ordinary people wait for inspiration, for motivation, for the perfect opportunity, for luck to show up. Extraordinary people understand that greatness is not found in luck or opportunity. It is built in repetition, in consistency, in small victories stacked day after day until they reach critical mass. Every time you complete a task, every time you follow through, every time you do what you said you would do when you didn't feel like it, you are winning. And that win, no matter how small it seems in the moment, is significant because it strengthens your mind, your habits, your confidence, your identity. You are not just achieving the task. You are proving to yourself that you can. That proof compounds, grows, multiplies, and soon the life that once felt out of reach is inevitable. Small wins create big change because momentum is the invisible force that transforms potential into reality, intention into action, desire into achievement. Every giant success in the world was built on countless small wins that no one noticed at first. But those small wins built a foundation too strong to ignore, too consistent to resist, too unstoppable to fail. Small wins create big change because they train your mind to expect results. When you start acting, even in small ways, and you see the outcomes of your efforts, your mind begins to trust itself. You begin to trust your ability to handle challenges, to push through setbacks, to adapt, to grow. Small wins are proof that you are capable. They are proof that action works. They are proof that consistency works. They are proof that your effort is not wasted. And when your mind has that proof, motivation stops being necessary. Motivation is temporary, inspiration is fleeting, but proof is permanent. Oh, it's permanent. When you stack small wins, you are stacking evidence that you can do more, that you can achieve more, that you are becoming more. That is why small wins are the secret weapon of champions. The people who accomplish the impossible are not relying on big bursts of motivation. They are relying on consistent, small, relentless victories that eventually create results that are exponential, unstoppable, undeniable. Small wins create big change because they redefine your identity. You cannot become the person who achieves greatness without becoming the person who does the work every day. And the only way to become that person is through repeated action that produces results, even if those results seem insignificant at first. Every small win is a vote for your identity. Every time you follow through, every time you make the right choice when no one is watching, every time you push past resistance, every time you endure discomfort, you are proving to yourself who you are. And identity is powerful because once you see yourself as someone who can act, who can endure, who can push past excuses, who can succeed, your actions become automatic. Your habits align with your identity. Your mindset aligns with your vision. Your energy aligns with your goals. Small wins create big change because they are not just external victories. They are internal victories. They are the training ground for the mental toughness, the discipline, the resilience, the relentless drive required to dominate life. Without small wins, your identity remains weak. Your confidence fragile. Your momentum non-existent. Small wins forge the foundation for the unstoppable, unshakable, unbreakable person you must become. Small wins create big change because they make progress tangible. The world is full of people overwhelmed by the big picture, paralyzed by the enormity of their goals, terrified by the distance between where they are and where they want to be. That fear and paralysis are often justified. They are staring at a mountain, but small wins break that mountain into manageable steps. Each step forward becomes a victory. Each action becomes progress. Each day becomes meaningful. When you focus on small wins, the impossible starts to feel possible. The distant dream becomes a series of achievable actions. The fear of failure diminishes because you are proving to yourself over and over that you can handle challenge, that you can take steps, you can succeed. Small wins reduce overwhelm and create clarity because they provide a roadmap of progress. They allow you to see, touch, and feel results, even in the smallest forms. And that evidence motivates further action, fuels further growth, and compounds into extraordinary transformation. Small wins create big change because they are unstoppable when compounded. 1 win, 2 wins, 10 wins, 100 wins, 1,000 wins. Each victory builds on the last. The power of compounding is relentless. The person who starts today, who chooses to take action, who chooses consistency, who chooses to follow through, will inevitably outpace the person waiting for one giant moment of motivation, inspiration, or luck. Small wins are proof, momentum, identity, clarity, confidence, and compounding energy all rolled into one. The people who accomplish the extraordinary are not seeking shortcuts. They are stacking small victories day after day until the exponential growth becomes inevitable, until the life they once dreamed of is no longer a dream but a reality. Every small win is a brick. Every action is a step. Every choice is a push forward. And when you add them together, when you persist, when you refuse to stop, when you let the power of small wins compound without distraction or delay, the change is massive, undeniable, unstoppable. So understand this, greatness is not built overnight. It is built brick by brick, action by action, win by win. Small wins create big change. Do not wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect idea. Start small, start now. Take one action, win one battle. Prove to yourself that you can. Stack that win on top of the next. Stack that win on top of the next. Keep going, repeat, persist, grind, execute, endure. And one day when you look back, you will see that all those small wins, all those repeated actions, all those moments of discipline, endurance, and consistency have created a life so powerful, so extraordinary, so unstoppable that you will realize the biggest victories in life are built from the smallest, consistent actions repeated until they become monumental. Small wins create big change, and the person who understands this principle and lives by it relentlessly cannot be stopped. Excuses are not harmless words. Excuses are not innocent explanations. Excuses are lethal, invisible chains that bind you to mediocrity, failure, and regret. They are the quiet killers of dreams, the invisible anchors that hold you down while the world moves forward. Every time you say, I can't because, every time you rationalize inaction with, I'll start tomorrow, every time you convince yourself that circumstances, people, or situations are to blame for your lack of progress, you are creating an enemy inside yourself. Excuses are not neutral. Excuses are not optional. Excuses are deliberate sabotage. They rob you of time, energy, momentum, and power. They steal the life you could have had while you sit safely in your comfort zone, telling yourself that tomorrow is better than today, that conditions must be perfect before you act. But the truth is, excuses are the enemy of every goal, every dream, every ambition, every vision. They are cunning because they sound reasonable, they sound rational, they sound logical, but they are lies. And if you want to achieve greatness, if you want to conquer, if you want to dominate your life, you must recognize your excuses for what they are, and you must attack them without mercy, without hesitation, without compromise. Excuses are your enemies because they are distractions from reality. They keep you busy with stories about why you are not succeeding instead of focusing on what you could do to succeed. When you say, I don't have enough time, I don't have the right resources, I'm too tired, I don't know enough, you are not being honest with yourself. You are lying to yourself. You are choosing comfort over action. You are choosing avoidance over confrontation. Every excuse you make is a moment wasted, a decision surrendered, a step back from the person you could be. Excuses take your responsibility and hand it over to circumstances. But circumstances do not care about your dreams. Circumstances will not push you forward. Circumstances will not create results for you. Excuses keep you waiting for someone else, something else, some other time, some other condition, some other opportunity to rescue you. And while you wait, the clock is ticking, life is moving, and your potential is slipping through your fingers. Excuses are the enemy because they remove your power. They give it away. They convince you that you are a victim of life rather than the architect of your destiny. And that is a lie. You are not a victim unless you choose to be. You are not powerless unless you choose inaction. Excuses disguise fear, laziness, and avoidance as logic. And if you let them, they will control your life forever. Excuses are your enemies because they prevent learning and growth. When you make excuses, you never face the truth of your actions. You never confront your weaknesses. You never accept responsibility for your choices. You never push yourself to improve. Every excuse is a dodge, a deflection, a refusal to engage with the work, the discipline, the effort, and the persistence required to grow. And growth is painful. Growth requires discomfort. Growth requires you to be honest with yourself, to acknowledge your mistakes, to endure criticism, to rise above rejection, and to keep moving when it feels impossible. Excuses are the shield that prevents that growth. They make failure tolerable by giving it a story, a reason, a justification. But that story is a lie, and it keeps you trapped in the same cycles, repeating the same mistakes, making the same choices, achieving the same mediocre results. Excuses are the enemy of excellence because excellence demands accountability, action, and relentless effort. The person who refuses to make excuses is the person who dominates life. The person who makes excuses is the person who watches life happen to them. Excuses are your enemies because they kill discipline, and discipline is the bridge between dreams and results. Discipline is built in the repeated refusal to give in to excuses, in the repeated choice to act despite discomfort, fear, fatigue, doubt, or uncertainty. Every time you make an excuse, you weaken your discipline. Every time you delay action because you are telling yourself a story about why it is not possible, you are training your mind to surrender, to settle, to accept less, to follow mediocrity. Excuses are the easiest path, but they are the deadliest path because they lull you into believing that you are doing your best or that you tried. Excuses are lies that convince you to be average while you could be extraordinary. Discipline requires the brutal honesty to acknowledge that your only limitations are the ones you accept. The only obstacles are the ones you allow. and the only failures are the ones you tolerate. Excuses are the enemy because they obscure that truth and give you permission to be weak, lazy, and complacent. Excuses are your enemies because they rob you of time, and time is your most precious resource. Every excuse you make is a moment lost forever, a chance that will never return. You cannot get it back. You cannot rewind it. You cannot postpone reality forever. Excuses trick you into thinking that you have more time than you do, that tomorrow is guaranteed, that life will wait while you prepare or rationalize or delay. Life does not wait. Opportunities do not wait. Time does not wait. Your dreams will not wait while you make excuses. Every day you let excuses dominate your thinking, you are robbing yourself of momentum, of progress, of action, of growth, of achievement. Excuses are your enemies because they promise safety, comfort, and justification, but they deliver regret, failure, and mediocrity. Excuses are your enemies because they limit belief. They make you question your ability, your potential, your strength, your resilience, your intelligence, your courage. Every excuse you tell yourself is a vote against your confidence, a vote against your potential, a vote against the life you could create if you refuse to rationalize, and act it instead. Excuses shrink your vision. Excuses shrink your mindset. Excuses shrink your ambition. And whoa. The moment you stop making excuses, the moment you claim responsibility, the moment you decide to act, regardless of obstacles, limitations, or fear, you reclaim your power. You reclaim your future. You reclaim the life that is waiting for you to fight for it. Excuses are the enemy because they pretend to protect you, but in reality, they kill everything that matters. So hear this clearly. Your excuses are your enemies. And if you want to live a life without limits, if you want to dominate your goals, if you want to build the life you dream about, you must confront them. You must attack them. You must refuse them. You must act despite them, move despite them, grind despite them, endure despite them. Stop rationalizing your inaction. Stop blaming circumstances. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop giving reasons for why you cannot do what you are capable of. No, excuses are lies, and lies are the enemy of truth, power, and greatness. Your only choice is to refuse them, to rise above them, to do what must be done, to grind, to push, to fight, to act, to dominate, to conquer, to win. Stop letting your excuses win. They are your enemy. And the only way to defeat them is to face the truth. Take responsibility and act relentlessly until nothing can stop you, nothing can hold you back. And your life becomes the undeniable proof that excuses have no place in the path of a warrior, a champion, and a relentless human being. Listen to me carefully, because this is the moment where everything changes. No more waiting. No more excuses. No more rationalizing why you can't, why it's too hard, why it's not the right time. Every second you waste giving in to excuses, fear, comfort, or hesitation is a second that life will never give back. Every time you let your mind make up reasons why you should settle, you are choosing mediocrity over greatness, comfort over dominance, and the ordinary over the extraordinary. And I don't want that for you. I don't want you living a life where you look back and wonder, what if I had tried harder? What if I had pushed more? What if I had refused to quit? The time for wondering is over. The time for action is now. If you want results, if you want the life you've been dreaming about, you have to be willing to destroy every excuse that stands in your way. You have to be willing to step into discomfort. You have to be willing to fight through fear. You have to be willing to grind when nobody is watching, to push when everyone else stops, to rise every single time life tries to knock you down. Nothing worth having comes easy. Nothing worth having waits for the perfect moment. Everything you desire demands that you earn it. Fight for it and refuse to back down until it is yours. This is your wake-up call. The world does not care about your reasons. The world does not pause for your hesitation. The world rewards the bold, the relentless, the unstoppable, and the people who refuse to be broken by excuses, doubt, or delay. Your dreams are not going to wait for you to feel ready. Your goals are not going to knock on your door and politely ask if you're prepared. They demand action, persistence, courage, and sacrifice. And it starts with a single choice: to no longer give power to excuses, to no longer surrender to comfort, to no longer let fear masquerade as reason. It starts with deciding that you are done living small, done playing safe, done waiting for permission to rise. Every action you take today, every step you refuse to postpone, every challenge you face head on builds momentum, fuels confidence, and creates the unstoppable force that will carry you past the people who never try, past the obstacles, past the pain, past the doubt, straight to the life you were meant to live. So now I challenge you. No more excuses. Stop blaming. Stop waiting. Stop fearing. Stop rationalizing and start acting. Start today. Start now. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for inspiration. Don't wait for circumstances to be perfect. Take control. Push harder than you have ever pushed. Grind longer than you have ever ground. Fight louder than you have ever fought. And every single day, prove to yourself, to the world, and to anyone who ever doubted you that you will not be stopped, that you will not settle, and that you will achieve what you set out to achieve because you refuse to give any power to your excuses. The life you want is on the other side of action, courage, and relentless effort. The person you are becoming is forged in discipline, struggle, and refusal to quit. No more excuses, no more waiting, no more fear. Rise, grind, conquer, and let the world witness the unstoppable force you were always meant to be.